Apartment prices are rapidly increasing in Korea. Woo-sung, in desperate need of a place, takes a massive loan and buys an apartment. After around a month, he sleeps drunk in his flat as numerous notices of his due loans are lying on the floor. He wakes up to a thud sound coming from upstairs. He doesn't pay much attention to it and goes to his office in the morning. His friend suggests he invest in cryptocurrency, but he doesn't pay much heed to it. After everyone leaves the office, he takes out all his essentials, which he charges on office electricity, steals some food, and gets home. On his door, he finds a few notes complaining about the noise. He enters the room, and just in a few moments, hears those sounds from the upper story again. He calls the maintenance and tells them to look into the apartment above him from where the sound is coming. The next night, Woo-sung returns from his additional job of being a delivery boy. He finds even more notes at the door, quibbling that they have little kids who are sensitive to loud noises. After freshening up, he drinks himself to sleep. He wakes up once again to those same noises. Someone comes to his door, and from his intercom, he finds an old woman. She lives in his downstairs apartment and has come in with the same complaints. In anger, Woo-sung says it isn't him and opens the door, hurting her. He apologizes, but the woman doesn't believe in him. He says she can look into the house in her own eyes, and as she enters, it is all quiet. She thinks he is a liar and angrily leaves the place. Further irritated, Woo-sung reaches upstairs himself and knocks on the door. His anger soon shrieks as a muscular man comes out. He is Jin-ho. He stammers a bit, but expresses his issue. Jin-ho quietly says that it isn't him, and it must be the ones from upstairs. Woo-sung finds it hard to believe, but reaches out to check anyway. Upstairs lives a man who is just leaving the lift and tells him that he has nothing to do with the noises, and it must have come from upstairs. Helplessly, Woo-sung gets up another floor where lives an old couple. They let him enter, and he politely tries to complain, but it angers the old man, and he starts screaming at him, and he runs out. Woo-sung knows that it is on the top floor lives the resident representative. He reaches up to file an official complaint. The representative, Eun-hwa, welcomes him into her polished house and listens to his concerns. As Woo-sung complains, she brings in an envelope of cash and requests that he let it go. She needs the tenant's support to keep the apartment from getting emptied and promises him that she will take care of it since she is certain it's coming from the floor below him, and that family is weird. Seeing the money, Woo-sung is happy and he leaves. However, he returns to find that his cycle's tire has been ripped with more notes all around it. The next day at the office, his colleague once again offered him to invest in crypto as he had done a calculation and found a hack to it where he can make a huge amount of profit. Woo-sung dismisses it once again, but is hooked on the crypto prices all night long. As he is on duty at night, he crashes into a bike and the food leaks. He calls the restaurant, telling them he will pay for it, and eventually he calls his colleague and tells him that he will invest in crypto. His friend explains the hack to him, saying he has to buy the crypto when the price is down at 815 won, and then tune in on August 15th at 8:15 a.m. when the crypto price will increase by a maximum 815%. He will have to press sell right at that moment. On the very night, he reaches a realtor and sells his house. He decides on a 20% lower amount. He demands a down payment of 85 million won, and the buyer is none other than the husband of their flat representative. Woo-sung realizes that if he cancels the deal after receiving the down payment, he will have to pay back the price in double. Considering he will do well with the crypto, Woo-sung realizes that it will be nothing, and he will get back his apartment, including enough money. After receiving the money, he runs home, keeping an eye on the price, which is reducing constantly. He reaches home in time and sets everything up, and just at the exact moment it is 815 won, he buys it. The next morning, he sees the prices increased by over 100%. He excitedly calculates how much he will receive when it reaches max and realizes he will be rich. The apartment noises continue, but he ignores them peacefully, and during the night, someone enters his house with a bunch of equipment. He wakes up at night, and Jin-ho knocks on his door, concerned about the noise, because he is receiving those notes as well. He lets him enter to hear for himself, and just as he is in the room, the noise doesn't happen anymore. Woo-sung is frustrated about it, but Jin-ho doesn't trust him and leaves angrily. The thumping sounds continue, and Woo-sung is frustrated. He even finds someone recording him. He gets out to smoke a cigarette, where he comes across a fellow smoker who apparently is the husband of the woman living downstairs. They live on rent and can't afford to buy an apartment. He asks him if he knows about the murder on the flat beside them. Woo-sung isn't aware of it, as the man tells him that the murder was because of a noise complaint. He further scares him that if there were a murder in any apartment, the prices will decrease rapidly. Seeing his demeanor, Woo-sung leaves from there immediately. The man follows him to the lift and plays with a cutter. He subtly threatens him and leaves. Woo-sung runs back to his room and closes all the curtains and starts having panic attacks. Moreover, he sees that the crypto price is decreasing. Soon, knocks are heard on the door, with those same complaints about the noises. He opens the door screaming, and it's all the people in the entire apartment. They start blaming him for the noise, while Eun-wha stops the chaos. She suggests that they look into his house, but Woo-sung argues that they should look down at the apartment below, and they should check their phones because they are spying on him. However, Eun-wha requests that they look into his house first, and after the inspector enters, along with Jin-ho, they find an entire sound system in his storage with a phone attached to it playing loud construction noises. Woo-sung gets completely angry and attempts to attack the creepy man, but he is pushed back. He starts capturing everyone's photo, and just then, the guy kicks him away. He somehow stands up and tries to fight, but to his shock, the man pretends to be attacked and falls down. Everyone assumes he hit him, and soon the police arrive and catch him. He is taken to the police station, and it is August 15th, and he has only a few minutes to sell the crypto. He asks them for his phone, but it is broken in the scuffle. He starts faking a stomach ache, and as they open the cuff, he makes a run. They stop him easily, but as the head cop comes out from his office, he sees the computer there and makes a run inside, locking up the door and blocking it with the sofa. He logs into the site and somehow bypasses the two-step verification and is about to sell just at the right moment, but he hears that they are opening the door with the spare key. However, the sofa blocks them, but in no time, they push it back and tase him. With all his might, Woo-sung tries to hold it together and somehow takes the cursor to the sell button. Just as it turns to 815, he presses the click, but at the same time, one of the cops removes the plug. Woo-sung wakes up at the station later. He is granted bail because the police have found his illegal videos on the downstairs neighbor's phone. He returns home and quickly checks the crypto app and finds out that he failed to sell the crypto and all his money is gone. Completely devastated, Woo-sung writes a suicide letter addressing his mother, and just as he is about to jump from the balcony, he hears the thud sound continue with the downstairs neighbor's lighting rhythm. He walks out to reach them with a hammer, and just then Jin-ho comes there with his repetitive complaint. In anger, he rushes at him, but Jin-ho beats him down and drags him further inside the house. However, this time he hears the sound as well. He checks out the storage room, but nothing is there. Woo-sung once again tries to attack him, but he pins him down again, and this time sees the suicide letter. They sit down together, and the noise continues still. Jin-ho wonders why they would make such noises. He feels sorry for him and says that they team up together and figure out what's going on. Woo-sung agrees. They approach the room downstairs and find that the door is open. As they enter, they find nobody inside. Jin-ho suggests looking for speakers, but they find nothing except so many overdue bills lying around. Among them, they figure that the downstairs neighbor's building is owned by Eun-wha and her husband. Woo-sung realizes that they bought his apartment as well, and Jin-ho tells them that the same has happened to him. He says that they're trying to buy the whole building and is probably making the noises to make them sell their houses at low prices. Soon, a call comes from Eun-wha to Woo-sung asking him to come over. They plot to find evidence at her house and threaten her to make it public. Woo-sung reaches there as she asks him about the fight, if he really hit the man, while Jin-ho rings the doorbell to keep her occupied. Woo-sung, meanwhile, goes to the bathroom and starts looking for anything important. He finds a gun and a steel door with a password lock. Soon, he is attacked by her husband. As he calls him a thief, Woo-sung gets angry and tries to attack him, saying that he knows everything about them. But Eun-wha takes the golf club from his hand, and Jin-ho takes him away. He tells him that he shouldn't have gone all crazy too soon and advises him to calm down, as they will make a plan together later. At his house, Woo-sung brings out his phone, and it's as usual broken. The police have given him the phone with which the sound was played. It isn't his phone, so he doesn't know the pattern, but there is a Wi-Fi connection and the signal is poor. He decides to take it to Jin-ho immediately. However, after he calls him up, he sees that the signal is stronger there. Jin-ho opens the door, and he stammers and says that his Wi-Fi got disconnected, so he needs his. Jin-ho says that he has no Wi-Fi either. He decides to leave, as Jin-ho stops him and offers him to go to the hot bath with him, but he denies. After he closes the door, Woo-sung checks out the Wi-Fi signal at every apartment, and it is the strongest at his door. He figures out the truth and decides to go to the hot bath at the last moment. It is in the same apartment, and they have their own key cards. Woo-sung tells him that he has no recharge, so Jin-ho gives him his, and he secretly exchanges the keys. In between, Woo-sung says that he has to leave urgently and runs to his apartment. He enters with the stolen key card and figures out out it's the same Wi-Fi. In another room, he finds numerous paper cuttings stuck to the wall, all related to apartment noises and increasing prices. He captures the photos and additionally sees his own pictures hanging. He finds a whole hacking system from which he is keeping an eye on everyone in the apartment. He has also hacked the key system, and with a single touch, he can open any door. In another room, he finds out the sound system from which he has been spreading the noises to the whole apartment. Soon, Jin-ho reaches his house and enters. Woo-sung hides inside the wardrobe as he brings out a chip from his chain and has apparently recorded him all the while. After he goes to sleep, Woo-sung comes out and grabs a hammer. He decides to attack him, but after all, doesn't. Soon, a doorbell rings and he hides under the bed. Jin-ho opens up and it is the woman from downstairs. Apparently, it was his advice for his husband to pretend to be hurt, but he accidentally hit his head and she says he may never wake up. Jin-ho says that it will be better. The more dead, the more interesting it will be. She gets angry and tries to attack her, but she is rather weaker. Jin-ho takes up the bed and throws a bundle of cash at her. Angrily, she reaches the bed and starts breaking the cassettes. Jin-ho gets pissed off and throws her away. As she tries to crawl away, he hammers her to death. He collects the discs and goes away. Woo-sung gets out of there immediately and tries to run, but stumbles upon Jin-ho. He suddenly starts hammering his own head and throws the hammer in his hand. He has made up the perfect story to set up Woo-sung as the murderer. He is the perfect epitome of the modern generation of suffering. And if his story comes out, we'll understand how the rich are systematically driving the poor to insanity. However, after some talk, Jin-ho realizes that the story will be even better if he commits suicide and tries to kill him. But Woo-sung stops him, saying that it will be hard for him to set up this story all by himself within a night, because every hell will come loose. He promises that he will help him kill the representatives and set up the story of the downstairs woman, addressing her death as suicide. Jin-ho finally calms down and they reach up. They bring up the body. Jin-ho cuts the gas pipe and puts the wrench in the woman's hand. They reach the bed and tie both of them up. Jin-ho faces Eun-wha and asks her if she remembers him. He was once a journalist and did a story on the poor construction of the complex, and she blocked the story. He was eventually stabbed by thugs. Then she stopped being a prosecutor and started buying the building. Since then, he decided to follow her. He demands to take the ledger from her, which consists of all the money she illegally took from the construction. She tells him that her husband knows the password of the steel door, and he drags him there. Eun-wha tells Woo-sung that she is certain he has been tricked into this. She requests him to help her, and Woo-sung does so. Jin-ho returns and takes her to the locker, as he hasn't found the ledger anywhere. She explains that she has lost it somehow, but Jin-ho hits her hard. Meanwhile, Woo-sung brings out the gun from the house and fires, but it doesn't work, and Jin-ho attacks him. He starts punching him, and just then, Eun-wha comes from behind and fires the gun, which releases a gas that makes Jin-ho back off. The gas spreads, and he runs to the other room. Eun-wha closes the door on Woo-sung as well. Woo-sung starts looking for Jin-ho, who has been stabbed in the scuffle. Eun-wha comes there and finishes up the job. She beats Woo-sung from behind and starts lecturing him about life. Meanwhile, Jin-ho gets up with his last bit of life and grabs her. He eventually finishes her, and both of them eventually die. Woo-sung checks out the documents and burns them all up. He further leaks the gas and keeps the fireplace open. As he leaves the flat, the apartment blasts, and he falls unconscious. He wakes up in the hospital with his mother beside him. The police have found no evidence to put him on anything since all the vital things are burned. Woo-sung eventually returns to his village and starts living with his mother. So, that was the recap for the 2025 movie Wall to Wall. For more recaps like this, stay subscribed to the channel, and if you like this video, you may also like this.